Paul. Yes. Mhm. It's 2:36. And I was online on my online drive. Yeah. This is the 777 at gmail.com. Yep. And it's kind of interesting on my cell phone. Yeah. If I push the war crimes drive, yep, it goes to another war crimes drive. Oh, yeah. It gets a little frustrating because it looks like, oh, wait a second here, what just happened? Yes. I push war crimes drive and it goes to the war crimes drive and then it does what? Oh, there it goes. Yes. Now, I noticed that somebody had been messing with my drives. Yes. And it's a little frustrating because you would think that as soon as you push the war crimes drive, yeah, it wouldn't go to a war crimes drive. No. See, it would go back. And it's almost like somebody has the availability, yes, of changing the actual drives that Google provides. Now, let's say you're in the IRS and you say, well, you can't go waltzing into the IRS. You can't go waltzing in there. As if I'm going to dance when going to the Internal Revenue Service. And you have a large amount of backup drives, don't you? Yeah. Now, if I found out that the Internal Revenue Service, yes, was using their backup drives to back up all those Internal Revenue Service tax returns, yes, of every corporation, and all the citizens of the United States, yes, and they did not realize that somebody was changing some of the actual documentation that was provided at the time, yes, of filing their Internal Revenue Service tax return. Now you'd say it's impossible. The IRS has the best encryption, yes, encryption technology, so that there's no way that if I filled out one of these, it's called the form 3949-A. Yes. Information Referral, Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service. Yes. Now it says read the instructions before completing this form. There may be other more appropriate forms specific to your complaint. Yeah. I have a complaint with the IRS. Oh. Now, for example, if you suspect your identity was stolen, use Form 14039. Oh, it just so happens that I do suspect that, and I have provided an abundance of documentation proving that my state-issued driver's license was changed. Yes. See, it actually says 6'2". Yes. And it says 255 pounds. Yeah. And it was changed in such a way that I was obstructed from receiving notice, yes, of court hearings. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't just suspect that my identity was stolen. Yes. Now, for the idiots in the employment of the sheriff's department, now, somebody changed my last known address to 1023 Kitchen Dick Road. Hmm. And this idea of me being stupid for putting my identification in my drives, yes. Well, did anybody change the Google Drive so that you would have like it's kind of like, let's say you had a desktop, a remote desktop. Yes. Can you have a remote Google Drive that you can program to get all the Google, yes, drives of all of those that you want to change documentation on? Well, now, let's say that I'm wanting the Internal Revenue Service to prosecute some individuals. Yeah. And the IRS commissioner says, well, we're not going to give you a $400 billion credit. And I think, well, you are. Now you get me the employees right now of the IRS. Now, I'm going to want all your backup servers of every form filed in the Internal Revenue Service for the last 50 years. And then I want to know the actual identity because it looks like your family has been changing their tax returns. Yes. After they had submitted them to the Internal Revenue Service. Now, if we went through every document that has been sent to, yes, scanned into, yes, or submitted to, yes, the IRS online, yes, through any and all IRS websites, is it possible that somebody decided to put a little back door into a server, to change signatures, yes, or any of the other information provided to the Internal Revenue Service? It's kind of like this. Information about the person or business you are reporting. Yes. Name of individual, Clallam County. Yes. Social Security number would be their tax ID number as a county that has incorporated. Why don't you get me the actual tax ID number? Yes. Of all incorporated cities. Counties. State. Now, you don't think that the states, well, street address 1234 Clallam County. Now, your occupation as a county, yes, is to enforce the laws, right? Prosecute crime, yes, it is, and make sure that no one enriches themselves at the pain and suffering of citizens. Now, is there such a thing as a tax return? Yes, of any city of the United States. Let's call the IRS. Is there a tax return of any county? Is there any federal tax returns of any agency? Yes. Department? Yes. Or any other incorporated entity of the United States federal government? Now, status, married. This morning I talked to you about the United Nations marriage certificate. Yes. And how I did not receive any notice of court hearings. Yes. After you arrested me and summoned me, giving me 90 days to respond. Pooch. In fact, I never received any notice of court hearings. Oh, see, the summons was on my part. Yes. I had an obligation to respond to the summons at the time that you arrested me. Right. And for some reason, I can't fill out a tax return because you would say I'm crazy right now. Crazy. Now, here's a problem. Let's say I filled one of these tax returns out and I put single, head of household. Do I put divorced or separated? Do I have an obligation to make sure that the Internal Revenue Service understands that the United Nations issued our marriage certificate? Yes. And I never got a dissolution of marriage. Let's go ahead. Now, do I put married, single, head of household, divorced, or separated? Now, I would say that I'm not separated from my wife. We should be residing together with our 5 sons in the same.